Good morning, Mets fans, and happy hump day. It is Wednesday. It is July 5th, the day after the 4th of July. So happy belated birthday to the United States. And not so happy a day for the Mets. The first two games, in D.C. Went exactly as we hoped they wouldn't. Well, perhaps not exactly. I mean, Murph only killed the Mets in one of the two games. But 2 games, 2 losses, and it's looking like, despite the small amount of hope that we might have had, it's looking like this season is not going to materialize into anything because the Mets just cannot seem to beat the Nationals. So the Mets have been in chase mode for the majority of this season, where they've been trailing 1+ teams. I'm looking at the Nationals only in the NL East, but there's the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, the Cubs. There are a bunch of other teams in the wild card standings who the Mets are technically trailing. And I mean, you can even throw the Braves in there because the Mets are not in front of the Braves right now. They're actually trailing the Braves too. But the bottom line is the team that they're chasing, the real team they're chasing, is the Washington Nationals. And as has been the case a lot for the last 5 years or so, the Mets just cannot seem to beat the Nats. With the exception of the stretch run in 2015 where the Mets were able to destroy the Nats, which was great to watch. The Mets just have not had much success against the Nationals, and these last 2 games were no different. Ron Darling hit the nail on the head when he talked about Monday night's loss. Trailing 2-0 after having a terrific pitcher's duel between Matz and Strasburg. Steven Matz was brilliant on Friday. He pitched well enough to certainly earn a win. Walked away with a no decision, which is very unfortunate for Steven. But after trailing 2-0 down to their final strike, Curtis Granderson and his one good hit at the plate, and he hits a game-tying, clutch 2-run home run to tie the game at 2. And almost immediately thereafter, my friend Mike Cohen texts me and says, that's great. Now we're just going to have to watch the Nats walk it off in the bottom half. And I was like, no way. This is not going to happen. Of course, that's exactly what happened. The Nats took a walk-off victory, 3-2. Hooray for them. Yesterday, Seth Lugo did not pitch badly, but he seemed to run out of gas pretty quickly. This is the second start in a row where in the 5th inning he just sort of fell apart. And whatever. If you're not going to pitch great against the Nationals, you're going to end up being hurt, because this Nationals team, has a lineup that is just extremely deep. And I mean, they even have these bench guys like Adam Lind and Ryan Rayburn, who are both having terrific seasons. And like I said, if you're going to give up base runners, the rate at which the Mets give up base runners, whether it be by walks or by hits, the Nats are going to make you pay. And it always seems as though every time there's a chance for an RBI, Daniel Murphy's up to bat, and he always happens to drive that run in. And this isn't a new thing. I mean, that's what Murph does. It's what he did as a Met, and it's what he's continuing to do now as a National. Tonight, Jacob deGrom is on the mound, and it's up to Jake to really be as dominant as he has been over his last 3 starts, and to really act as a stopper. The only way that works, though, is if the offense holds up its end of the bargain. The offense has got to score tonight. Yesterday against Joe Ross, the Mets didn't do anything. I mean, they did not do anything. And again, Ron Darling was pretty on the spot there, where he said, don't let Joe Ross's record fool you or his ERA fool you. He has pitched very well of late, and that's all well and good. But, when you're facing a guy with an ERA over 5, you got to be able to score some runs off of him. And the Mets just weren't able to do it yesterday. Way too many left on base. The Monday game, you can't say anything about it. It was a pitcher's duel. It was Strasburg. Fine. Today, Tanner Roark. Ask Keith Hernandez what he thinks about Tanner Roark. Okay? The Mets have got to score against Tanner Roark. He's the weak link in the rotation for the Nationals. The Mets have got to score against Tanner Roark, period. So tonight, deGrom and Roark, hopefully, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that yet another injury has befallen a Mets player. TJ Rivera came up limp yesterday. Looked like he hurt his hamstring as well. So the team that at one point in time had an overabundance of outfielders, it now has a deficiency in outfielders. I think Jay Bruce is the only one who hasn't been touched with the bug, and I kind of hold my breath every time he does anything because I'm expecting him to go down next. But hopefully tonight, as I was about to say, Granderson and Cespedes can both be in the lineup. I'll also be remiss not to mention Cespedes' struggles. Yo has just not been right since he's come back from his hamstring issue, quad, heel, whatever. He has not been right, and I think the last 2 years, if the last 2 years are any indication, for the Mets to win, Yo's got to be going, and he's got to be going good. 2015, the Mets turned things around when Cespedes arrived. 2016, the Mets were a significantly better team on the field when Cespedes was on the field with them. The same is very likely the case in 2017. So if Yoenis Cespedes can get on the field and stay on the field, that means that the Mets might have a shot at doing something positive in the second half. So I'll be back tomorrow to recap the final game of this Nationals series. I appreciate you watching the video, and I thank you for that. If you're not already doing so, please follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. That's MISTER_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.